So we're going to be getting started. We're going to be getting started in about 5 minutes because we're doing a webinar. So we've got people dialing in. So if you want to get some questions or whatever before, just give me a heads up. We've got about 5 more minutes and then we're going to turn on the webinar. Okay. Yeah, we are. We're on. We're recording.
Perfect.
So, and the mic is on. So we're just.
Okay. We still have a few minutes.
5 minutes, and then I'll dial in the phone.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Yay. I'm gonna stop telling people because it'll take me.
I know.
That's why I just escalated it to
And then we'll be starting this. Alameda County. We're going to get started in about 3 or 4 minutes, but I just wanted to acknowledge anyone who is on the line now and going to join us by webinar. Hi, this is June. Everyone just dialed in, and we're going to get started in about 5 minutes for the Engineers Awards webinar. We just want to acknowledge those who are joining us by webinar. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes. This is June now.
Very cool. I realized I was like, yeah, because it's so
Put this down here to help me remember.
Okay.
Anything I need to.
All right. And remember.
Okay. Great. We've got about 10 people on the phone, so we're getting ready to get started.
Okay. Yeah, just so they see the screen. All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at First 5 Alameda County. If you allow me just to take my name is June Allen, and I am part of the technology team here at First 5, and so I would like to, again, welcome you all, but allow me a moment to welcome those who are dialing in by webinar. We want to make sure that you guys can hear us and you can see the screen. Are you guys there?
Yes, I'm here. This is Danielle over at Alameda County Library. I can see the screen and hear you.
Wonderful, Danielle. Thank you. We're going to be calling you by name now that we know you're there, just to make sure that you guys are having a good experience and can hear us, okay?
All right.
Thank you. All righty. So with that, we're going to get started. And first of all, again, just want to welcome everyone to the 2018-19 End of Year Award Reporting Training. And this is a special one for us here at First 5 because it is allowing us to share with you our new system that we have been working on for about, a year and a half now. HIGH5 is the replacement system for our previous system called ECC Online. And you're going to do the same or have the same functionality in HIGH5 that you did with ECC Online, except that it's on a new platform, Salesforce, and we need you to use Chrome to log in. But you're still going to go there when you want to look at your contract or your award. You're going to go to HIGH5, take a look at it. You're going to do your end of year reporting there, meaning responding to your RBA plan and your putting in your expenses and all of that. But it has a couple of new features to help with that process. So we're really excited to share that with you. Before I go on any further, I'd like to, we had one person just leave, but I wanted to introduce the team to you all. So again, my name is June Allen. I've been working on HIGH5, and other team members are.
Hi, I'm Karen Barnes, Policy Planning Evaluation Manager.
Hey, my name is John Garvey. I'm a data analyst here at the HIGH5 team.
So you've got a hybrid of folks, technology, policy planning, data analysts. So all of us have come together as the leaders in getting this new system out to you guys, and we're really excited. So wanted to make sure that everybody has had an opportunity to pick up a folder, either red or yellow, because that holds all the material that we're going to be talking about today. So if you joined us here in the conference center, you have a folder. For those who are joining us by webinar, the attachments were sent out yesterday, and I just want to acknowledge what's in that folder and acknowledge the
what our training objectives are before we begin. First of all, we're gathered because, number one, we want to introduce HIGH5 to you in the sense that we want to make sure everyone can log into the system. Either you are a returning user, meaning you used ECC online, or you are new to your agency, new to our partnership with your agency, and then you're going to create a new account. Before you leave here, we're asking you to take an opportunity to maybe create your account or confirm that you can log into your account in the back of the room. We have PCs set up so that you can have that experience here with us, and we can help you through, any difficulties should you experience that. Okay, so that's training objective number one. Training objective number two is to walk through the reporting process in HIGH5, our new system. Talk to you about results-based accountability, or acronym RBA. That's how we are collecting the work that you've done for us this year through RBA. So we have a new way of reporting your performance data. And then also expenses. Reporting includes you sharing your expenses, so we're going to walk through expense reports and how to put that information in. And we're also finally going to do narrative questions. Some of you might have narrative questions assigned as far as reporting as well. So those are our two training objectives today, and just also wanted an opportunity for you guys all to meet us. You'll probably be talking to us via the phone or what have you, but we wanted an opportunity for face-to-face. So we're glad you're here. In the folder or attachments that were sent out include an agenda, which we're going to follow this afternoon. That agenda lets you first understand and look at RBA, results-based accountability, how you're going to put in your performance data. Then we're going to move on to reporting expenses and submitting invoices, and finally reviewing your data. We've got a new feature that we want to share. We're excited about sharing with you, and then we'll take time out for user access and talk about next steps. So with that, I want to check in if we have questions. Everybody all set? You've got your folders. Folks who are joining us on the webinar, are you okay? You can hear us and you're ready to go?
Yes, I'm good.
Thank you, Danielle. All right.
We're having trouble hearing you over at Child Care Link.
You're having trouble hearing me? How about now? Is it better?
Is there any way you could possibly stand closer to the phone? Maybe that's what.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is it better now?
You just sound very distant, but we'll make it work if you're as close as you can get.
Hold on. Let's see what we can do.
Okay, this is on from public health, and you do sound far away.
Okay.
When you were talking from the staff hour from the library, it sounded very close, but then it sounded like maybe you stepped away.
I was close at the phone, and then I'm using the mic in the room. I'm going to talk now. How's that? Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay, and we will make sure that we keep a good volume so that you guys can hear us. And thank you for the feedback. We'll know to try something else next time. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Is the webinar being taped?
Yes, it is, and that's one of my, thank you for asking that question. I can share it now. We will be putting the webinar on the website. As soon as we finish today, we'll have any attachments, any documents that we are looking at today. They're already on our website. If you go to first5alamedacounty.org, our new logo for our HIGH5 system is sitting right in the middle of the page. You click on that logo, it will take you to all the materials that we're looking at today, as well as the webinar, which we'll have up probably by tomorrow morning.
Wonderful. Thank you, June.
Thank you. Okay, so, yes, we will switch up. Got it. Just due to previous commitments, we're going to make a change to the agenda. And John Garvey is going to take a moment and talk to you all about charts and reports. This is one of the reasons that we have upgraded to HIGH5 using the Salesforce platform. We know that we ask you all for a lot of information. We ask you for a lot of data. And a lot of times the experience is the data comes to us, but we never give it back to you, or we never give you an opportunity to look at your data through our lens. So with this new system, HIGH5, we have charts and reports that we have built in that you can see as a community member. So what we're doing is we're giving you an opportunity through some great charts and reports to see your data the way we see your data. And that's one of the newest features. So we're going to log in, and then John Garvey's going to take over. He's our data analyst, senior data analyst here, and he's going to talk about it. And the reference guide is in your packets. John?
Hey, thank you. I gotta go pick up my kids today from school, which is why we're shuffling the agenda. Turns out after-school childcare is difficult to get sometimes. And so this is really backwards, because ideally you'd want to enter data into the system before we look at the data that you entered into the system. So I appreciate my team for being a little flexible. So we're just going to start with the goal, I guess. The idea is that we're putting data into the system that meets our RBA plan and our reporting requirements. And the way it's sorted here is we're on the front page, and this is the home page when you log in that you'll get to. And you see a couple of the different tabs up here up top. Some of these relate to our training side of the system, and some of them are going to relate to awards. So if you don't see it, there's always a little caret on Salesforce. This is one of their sort of features. On the side of whatever menu bar, this little drop down arrow will give you all of your options. So on this one, I'm going to go to my awards. And we put together a demo award for this. But all of the awards that are associated with your organization and that you have access to view would be visible here. So that's sort of the first feature, is that everything that you do in the system is going to be recorded here. So if you ever want to go back in an award period to a different award, or go if your organization has multiple awards, that's where you go looking for the information for that particular awarding period. So in this case, we're going to go in and click the link to go to the project. And okay, so the way the system's set up right now is now we're at the award page, and you know that because of this little red indicator over here. So this is the front page of our award. And off to the side, there's a couple action buttons that you can use. Karen's going to be walking you through this one, which is just entering your performance data. But the first way that you can see anything that you've done in the system is scroll down and start seeing all the different details of your award. And if you keep going down, the first thing you hit is this is your RBA plan. So for this award, these are the types of performance questions we're asking, and this is what was in the contract. If we keep going down, though, we get to see the reporting periods. And for anyone who's been in ECC Online, this is the way we organized it before. It's just by reporting periods. So anytime you want to go back to a prior reporting period and see what information is in there that you had reported, you just click on that reporting period. And even though it's closed, you can still open up all of the different things that you've provided to us, whether it's expense reports or whether it's the performance measures, and review what you entered. You just can't edit it. So if the reporting period is closed or you submitted something to us, if you need some edits to that or changes to that, you would call us. But here you can see we have performance data, and that's the thing that's new about this system is there's a couple different terms. Performance data is what you're submitting to us as part of your RBA plans. So there's a weird distinction. You have a performance measure, which is the question that we ask, and performance data is really the answer that you give to us. So when you see this phrase performance data, that's the answer to those RBA questions, those performance measures. And again, there's a link to click into, and you can see a couple of the different features, and Karen's going to go over this. We have things like reporting instructions, but for my part, you can see here the number of play groups held, and here's the reported answer. There's a couple different flavors of data that you can provide to us. Actually, we're going to take a look at a couple. One is just a number like this, like a count of something. Another one would be a percentage, and that would be a number out of a number. And another one would be a text response. So depending on what type of questions being asked, you'll see slightly different fields here when you click into that performance data. But essentially, we have question and answer, right? Additionally, we do this thing called turn the curve. And turn the curve questions will include a couple narrative fields that give you a chance to tell the story about the data and what's going on behind the numbers, and then some of the partners. So I just say it to say that there'll be a couple different flavors of this page that you'll see as we go through the demo today. But essentially, the performance data is where you'll see the question and the answer that was provided and any narrative responses that you also have. So this is one way you can go. Now, navigationally in the system, you see a lot of blue hyperlinks. So here along the top breadcrumb trail here, I'm pointing with my finger, you can't see that, but you can see the mouse. And I can go right back to that award page, that first page that I started at. So generally we try to keep a running bar along the top, almost like that breadcrumb trail effect. That'll help you navigate. But another way you could do it is using the back button in the browser. It's really weird. Our old system, we were like, only use Internet Explorer and never use the back button. And now we're like, don't use Internet Explorer, and the back button's fine. But I would recommend navigating using the links. There are a couple advantages to it, but you can always use the back button to navigate around. The second way you can do it is you can print your RBA plan. The use case for this one would be, let's say I want to see all of my performance measures for an RBA plan across all of the reporting periods. So the first way was within a particular reporting period, seeing the response question by question. But if I want to see that in totality my RBA plan with all of the reporting periods and all of the responses I've given thus far, I can print that out. So there's two ways to do it. I can print my RBA plan, or I can print my RBA plan without results. So this one will print just the framework of my RBA plan, this page right here. This one, though, is going to print out my RBA plan. So I clicked on it and click Finish, and it's going to print my RBA plan, but also have results associated with it. There's a couple places in our system that allow you to generate these types of documents, and sometimes it's a little confusing because it comes in and drops it down screen here into this file attachments. So at the bottom of the screen, there's a section where you can attach files to your award, so if you're providing us supporting documents. But there's also a place where if you generate anything like my RBA plan printouts or my RBA plan printouts with performance results, you put it in it comes into the file attachments. One thing that you have to do sometimes is either wait. Sometimes it takes the system a while to refresh and put the document into that section, or you hit refresh on the browser. So if you don't see it, give it like a minute. If you do see it, or you don't see it, then refresh your browser, and then it will appear. So this generates a PDF. I can click on it and download it to my system. And I think I have it. And how this looks, even though it's printed out a weird reporting period, is ideally what you'd see is the RBA plan program specific results, the funded activities associated with it, your performance measure, and each reporting period. But it looks like on my test case I grabbed a bad one off of the list. You also see that it's in a different tab, so I can just go back to that tab and get back to my award that I'm on. But ideally there you'd see your RBA plan as written on that front page of the award, and here you'd have all of the reporting data, the performance data that goes with each reporting period. The final way you can get to the data so far, and this is very much, this part here is where we're going with the system. So this is where we're at right now, is we have these three different boxes alongside of the award page. These three different links take you to the cumulative results of your RBA plan thus far. So the first way was to see by reporting period, by performance measure, what responses you gave. The second way was to generate your total RBA plan with all of your responses by reporting period. And this third way is to see, I want to see my RBA plan and cumulatively see the numbers I've reported thus far. So it's going to add together everything that you've reported so far to that performance measure. And we have three different types. Like in the beginning I said, we have percent-based ones. We have number-based ones, like how many did you hold, and then we have text ones, and we had to split those up so that we could chart them and use a common axis so we could compare similar things. So if I click on my view numeric results, it's funny, I just got reading glasses and I can either see the screen clearly and you guys fuzzy, or the other way around. Anyway, so you can see here, I clicked on that numeric chart. It generated a dynamic chart by fiscal quarter of all of the data that I've entered thus far that relate to something that has a count of things. And it generated a report.
Hi, this is Anna from Public Health.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but someone on one of the phones sounds like they're typing, so then you cut out. Your voice cuts out every time, so maybe everyone on the phone can be on mute to help with the sound.
Thank you, Anna.
All right. Plus, I was kind of drifting away from the microphone, or it was going away from me. So anyways, these are all the performance measures, again, that relate to things that involve counts of numbers. So not the percentages and not the text. Those would be on those other links. And then here's the cumulative result thus far. So we had 3 reporting periods of sample data that we entered numbers in for. And the 4th period is open, is what Karen will go over and June will go over. So this is the cumulative number thus far that's been entered into the system for that particular question. Number of play groups held, 10. One thing you can do is export this into Excel. You know, if you have a different format that you create your reports in and you just want to grab the data so that you can fill your reports or your own templates, you can export it here. We also have a couple of other options, like if you want to try different chart types. But essentially, if you're going to customize it, I would export it into your own Excel application so that you can build your own charts and graphs. Again, it opened a different tab. So I go back to my original tab and I can review the other different types of performance measures that are in the system. Does anyone have, this part to me took a second, that there's 3 types of questions and that we broke them up. Does anyone have any questions around this or what I've gone over so far? But essentially, the first way was the way we had in ECC Online, just by reporting period. Then the printing gives you that total things that you've entered thus far. And these charts are really what we're looking to build upon, to give you a dynamic way to kind of see your data and then export it out of the system. So this is very much sort of the edge of where we're at right now. But these are the ideas thus far. But yeah, if there's any questions, either anyone on the HIGH5 team knows about data and reports. They just got me to come up here and talk about it. And also, if you have any, please, if you have any problems with the system or with data or the data that you see in there, contact us at the help desk to make sure it's correct. Appreciate it. Yeah, sorry, June, to change the order.
All right. Hi, I'm Karen Barnes. How are you guys doing over on the webinar? Everybody okay? Everybody muted, so you're not going to answer me now? I'm going to assume if I don't hear much, then that's good. If you do guys have questions, please do interrupt and let us know so we can meet your needs as well. And thank you for accommodating everybody who's in the room. I am going to start back at the home, which, as John said, there's this ribbon up top that has a bunch of options. So I'm going to click on the home because had we not reshuffled the agenda, that's where we would have started. And just orient you to what's on this home page first. In this right-hand corner, if you can follow the cursor, would be your login. It should say your name or the name that you're using with your email. And there's also this update contact details, which maybe under the first couple times you come in, or just the first time you come in, you may want to check out and see if there's anything that needs updating. There are a few fields that you can request to update, but that we at First 5 will actually have to update for you so that we can manage it. And then this ribbon up top, you also have the same functionality in these big buttons, these big yellow buttons. And we've organized it by the events and training functionality and the awards and funding opportunities functionality. The people in the room and on the phone today are here really for this right-hand side awards functionality. So we're not going to talk about the left-hand side, although if that's something that you do in your work, you'll be coming to another training for that. So I like to use the big buttons, but they work the same as those links up here. So I'm going to go to manage my awards. And after you guys have logged in, one of the things that June mentioned, an object of today, or a reason for us meeting with you today, is to make sure that you have a login. It's also to make sure that you have an association with the award that you're going to be reporting on, because we know reporting deadlines are coming up, and really that's why you guys are all here, so you can learn how to put that information in and get it to us in a timely fashion. So before you leave today, if you're in person, we'd like to make sure that you have logged in and that you see the award that you're here representing. For those of you on the phone, if you have any troubles finding the award, logging in or finding the award that you're representing, let us know by phone or email, and we will work with you to make sure you have the right access. So Jay Allen, who I am right now, I'm logged in as, has an award called Demo for External Partners, and I'm going to go in as if it was time to start working on my reporting. So I'll click, as John said, on the name of project. Again, you really want to look for these blue links. Those are the ones that will take you to the next pages. Be careful, some of them will take you to other pages, so make sure you're clicking on the ones that you want. We have, when we built the system, we've tried to put as much instruction on the page to help push you in the right direction. So you can see up here it tells you what to do. Click on the name of the award, so we're clicking on that. So if all else fails, read the screen. So again, John mentioned that over here on the left-hand side you see award and a funny Salesforce number. So they're all throughout the pages, you're going to see indications of where you are. We're going to call this the award homepage. And this is going to tell you information about your award, or contract is maybe what you're more familiar calling it. This one, it tells you the organization. The first 5 award number, which you may be familiar with, that's the contract number that we talk about here at first 5. Again, the name of the project, which just gives you an indication of which project it is, because maybe you have multiple awards. The contact person, which hopefully a lot of you in the room are the contact person that's listed, but if not, you can still have access to an award, and that's part of our job today too, is just to make sure that all the people who are working are associated with the right awards. So your program manager would be probably your main contact. In the system, we're calling it a program manager. You may know them as something else. So you'll see a lot of information about the award on the awards homepage. You'll see at the awards homepage is also where John was showing you all of the areas where you can get the charts and reports on data that you've already submitted. There is a RBA plan visualization. If you don't see it the first time you come, there's the button up top, View RBA Plan, and it will materialize it. Once it's there, it usually just stays there. You don't have to keep clicking that button. And then underneath there are a list of the reporting periods for this award. If there's multiple budgets, maybe you had one that was wrong and then there's an additional one, you'll see them listed here. The invoices that you have submitted, you may have a list of service locations, different information about the award, and at the bottom is the file attachments, as John went over. So there's a lot on the screen. Make sure you scroll all the way down if you're not seeing something that you thought you should see. Another hint with Salesforce I find is really helpful, if before you call us and you're not seeing something, try hitting your refresh button. Oftentimes that will push the system into putting the information there.
I also like to suggest that based on your monitor size, it also depends on how much you can see on the screen. So if you have a technique, or may not, if I could suggest holding the control key down, plussing or minus will give you more or less screen. Do you see how the difference where you see more or less data or information? So you might want to manipulate your monitor and use that control plus or minus to be able to see as much as you want or as less as you want on using Salesforce.
Yeah, and that will have an effect on what we call these action buttons up here. I know John mentioned them. I'm going to mention them again because it's really important that you pay attention to those. Anytime you want to do an action, these are really where you're going to start, these yellow buttons. But there's oftentimes you'll find that we have more actions available than can display on a screen. I don't know what size your monitors are, so there may be only one thing listed under the caret, as is in this case. There may be 4. So make sure as you're getting used to the system that you remember to always click on the caret to see the other items available. So I'm here and it's reporting time, and I am going to enter my reporting and payment data. So I'm going to click this button here. And just to, again, reorient you, in this example, this demo that we're giving, we've already had 3 reporting periods and we're on our 4th final reporting period here. You can see the status. This is an important one. The status is either open or closed. It's not the status of the information you put in. So you could have, I'll go over that as we continue, but oftentimes we have on these pages status, and it's whether or not you've completed something in the system, not whether or not you've met your requirements of your contract. And you'll see that as we go in. So we're gonna be doing all of our work on this final reporting period. So I'm going to click Enter Reporting and Payment Data. And here it's only offering me the final reporting period. Had the date been set for the other reporting periods to still be open, you would see a list of more of them. There were 4 to choose. Right now it's only showing me the only one that's open. So you really, as you go on in the year, you won't have a chance to go into the wrong reporting period. But just in case, it does have a description here that tells you the dates of the reporting period and the reporting deadline to help you determine that you're in the right one. So I'm going to click on the blue link.
It really is bad stuff.
What I'm going to want to do is enter information about my RBA plan, my performance data, as John was saying. So if you remember the grid of the RBA plan, there was performance measures, like number of playgroups held, number of kids that reported mud is awesome. So you were going to have a list of those. This one is showing 6, but it also says, if you can see here, it says 6+. So what I'm going to do is click View All, which you'll see it's kind of small. You'll see this often throughout the system. So if you're not seeing if you're not seeing all the things that you're expecting to see, look and see if there's a View All button, and you can use that to see the list in its entirety. Here you can see this one has 10 reporting measures that you're asked to report on. So if you're reporting, you're going to give the numbers and the data for all 10 of these. For today's demonstration, I'm only going to do 1. You can see here too the completion status. I've already done one. We actually gave a training a couple weeks ago, so I did it then. So I'm going to go into the number of activities held. The way I'm going to go in to respond to the number of activities held is by clicking on this blue link. And sometimes it takes a minute. And again, there's instructions up at the top, and I recommend that you read the instructions at least until you get used to the system. This one says click the edit button to enter the data and qualitative results, and then click the link to the reporting period to go back. So one thing John said was that the arrow, the go back arrow in here works, and it does. It will take you back to the last screen that you were at. One tip or warning I should give you, though, is that we have built in some security into some of these things, where some flows, basically. So if you're going to do something, there's something else that needs to be done next, and by using the back arrow, you're kind of eliminating the help that the system would give you to say, hey, you forgot to answer this performance measure. So if you were just to use the back button to get back to that list, it wouldn't. In this case, there is no warning, but if there had been a warning, it wouldn't tell you that. So I suggest that you use the instructions that are on the page as often as possible, and only use the back button when you're kind of getting stuck. But here again is this breadcrumb trail that John referred to, and in the instructions it says then click the link to the reporting period, and you will see that that's down here. It's a little harder to find, but it's labeled reporting period, and that's how you would want to get back to that list. So while we're here, we're going to follow the instructions to edit. We'll click the edit button, which is the action button in yellow. And this is the place where I would enter my information. This particular performance measure does not have a turn the curve set of questions, but I will show you the other one that does, so you can be familiar with that. Your program officer or program manager, it will set up which questions have turned the curve, and you should be aware of those prior to having to report. I'm not sure how many of you were responsible for the last reporting, but you were able in the last reporting to pick your own turn the curve, which performance measures you wanted to do turn the curve on. But going forward, that'll be your program manager will be deciding that. And if you have questions, today is really about the functionality of the system. So if you have questions about the functionality of HIGH5, those should come to the help desk or those of us here in the room today. If you have questions about your performance measures and program specific questions, those really should go to your program officer or program manager. So I'm just going to answer the question here. Number of activities held, we did 5. I don't have any comments. I'm going to go down here to the action button and save, and it will save my 5. I'm going to follow the instructions. I'm done with this one. You can see it has the number in there now. It has information that relates to if you have like a printout of your RBA plan, you could use the information here to help guide you, check off what you've done. I'm going to follow the instructions and click on the reporting period to go back to the list of performance measures. You'll see this is where we were just a minute ago here. And I'm just going to go into this one, the number of kids that report that mud is awesome, because that's the one I know that has the turn the curve questions, just to give you a chance to see what that looks like. So here you can see it asks the number, but it also asks the story behind the data, and it gives you a place to put your comments and put your narrative response about that, the partners who have a role to play, and the best ideas. So not all of your performance measures will ask you those questions, but there will be some that do, and so you'll see this on some pages. All right, so I'm going to go back by using the reporting period link again. And so at First 5, for those of you who were familiar with ECC Online and the way we used to do our accountability plans and our scope of works, we would ask these quantitative questions, and then we would also ask what we called narrative questions. But we've moved to this new framework of RBA, and we're asking to turn the curve questions, and we're asking you to put in the data as I've just shown you. But we do know that some of our partners have other pieces of information to share with us, so we do also have another place where you may be asked to give us some more narrative other than just those turn the curve questions. So that would be found when you're on your award and you're scrolling down. If your program officer has decided that they want some additional narrative information from you, it would be listed here under report narratives. If they didn't, if they decided they're getting the information they need in just the RBA plan, then this would be, there would not be nothing listed here. This particular demonstration award does have a report narrative, so I can show you. Again, the completion status here you see is in progress. You'll notice that that changes once we go in and put some information in, it'll say completed. So I'm going to click again on the blue link. And again, there's a bunch of instructions here so that if you're not taking copious notes right now or not remembering everything I say when you go back to do your reporting, hopefully the information on the screen will help you navigate. So it says to click the enter and edit responses to answer your narrative questions. And just to let you know, once you've done it, and I'll go through this and show you, and you click on the button narrative complete, you can't go back and edit what you've said, even though you haven't submitted your entire set of reporting yet. So if you decide that you need to change your answers for some reason, you'd have to contact us or your program officer to open it back up for you. But those instructions are on the screen as well. So to answer the questions, you're going to click the yellow action item, enter, edit responses. And there'll be an answer. It normally won't already be filled out, but we've been playing with our demo award. So you'll put in your information here. You'll see that it tells you that there's a limit to the number of characters that you can put in. So be accurate, but try to be brief. And then once you're done, you'll hit the save yellow action button. And once you're done there, you'd want to click report narrative completed. right now I can go back in and edit that answer again. And it's showing here. I can go back and edit it, but I'm decided I'm done with this. I don't need to edit it. I'm locking it until either for good or until I reach out to First 5 to open it back up for me. So I'm going to say report narrative completed, and it gives me that warning, and I'm going to mark it as complete and say finish. And now we're going to go back. The instructions here say to go back using the reporting period link again. So I'm going to go back to the reporting period link, and you should see that it says completed under the report narrative status. There you go. So you can see it's completed now. But I still haven't answered all of these questions for my performance measures. I had one completed when we started. I went in and showed you one, but there's still multiple to be completed. So I could submit my reporting data now, but I'm not going to because we're going to show a couple more things. But even though I have not clicked on this submit reporting data, which includes the performance measures and the expense report, the report narrative is already locked, just to make that clear. I think I'm ready. Does anybody have any questions about what I've gone over?
Previously, the narrative had a word limit of 100 or 300. It looks like it's more.
Well, that's a good observation. This in Salesforce, it doesn't provide word limits, it provides character limits. So we have set fields based on characters. So as you start typing or when you put something into that field, it'll start at the maximum character number and then reduce based on the information that you've either typed or cut and paste into the field. Yes?
I just want to make sure that I'm hearing it correctly. Once we enter the text and we hit complete, we cannot touch it again.
That's correct. Once you've said complete, it's locked. We can open it up for you. Just to be clear, not everyone's going to have narrative questions anyway. That's just a small piece. It's the performance measures everyone in this room is going to have. So, and that does not get locked until you click on this submit reporting data up here. I don't know if you can see it in the top right. So those two are separate.
Okay.
The report narrative, when you click completed report narrative, that locks that, but it doesn't send it to us until you click the submit reporting data. The submit reporting data locks all of your performance data, including your invoices and expenses, I believe.
Let's say I was entered just one performance data.
Hold on one second. I'm just answering some questions from the room. I don't know if the people on the phone can hear the questions, but we'll try to make sure that the answer makes sense for you. Go ahead.
Sure, so if I'm just entering the values of one performance measure, I close and I save, can I touch it again or no?
Yes. So the question is, can you go back and keep entering performance data? You can, if this is going to take you multiple days or you have multiple people you need to coordinate with, you can go in and out and it'll save the performance data until you click submit reporting data, this button here. Once you click that, then it locks it all up and you've said, First 5, I'm done, these are my numbers. But the system is very flexible, and June and I and John and even your program officer do have the ability to toggle that back for you. So I know this is this award or this reporting period is going to be the first time for you guys to be in the system, and we're all learning together. So we are going to be very patient with you, and we're asking you to be patient with us.
Just your experiences. So we're going to learn from you, and where we need to maybe rework, improve as a new system. We're in it together. So,
yeah, one thing that John neglected to go over was when he was showing you the reporting data, you all turned in your the last reporting period's reporting data to your program officer via like a Word document or Excel or email, however you got it to them. We've gone in and put that into the system. So when you do go into the system and log in and see your award, you will see that there is data already in there for you. So.
And that was our hands-on touch preparing to get ready for you all, so that when you called, asked questions, giving us feedback, we had, all of us, our whole agency, had a hands-on experience to get to know the system and to be able to support and answer your questions from experience, not just from, hey, I hear it works like this. We all jumped into the system, learned how to use it,
so we're all ready to support from experience.
And one more thing I want to, before I turn it over to June to talk about expense reports and invoices, is to acknowledge that whomever has access, who associated with an award, will be able to see all of the components that we're going over right now. So there were some people at our initial training, some representatives from their agency that decided they're the point person and they didn't want other staff members to have access, that they would be the only person to have access to the award because there's maybe sensitive information, in the budget, or so you want to think about that. Who has access to the award? It's very easy for us to include people, but that's a decision really based on your work and your peers.
So that was a good comment. Again, I think it's worth repeating again, just in case folks on the webinar didn't hear it. As you are asking us to add additional people to the award to assist with reporting, there is no feature or functionality in the system that allows certain people to have access to only certain parts of the award, like just the RBA plan or just the budget. Anyone who is added to the award to contribute to the end of year reporting sees everything. And that came up in our previous training. It was a concern, so we're just being very transparent. And that this works just like our old system, where if you're added to the award to assist with end of year reporting, you get access and you can see everything. Any other questions? Yes.
Really simple, basic question, just back to the entering data and submitting it.
Uh-huh.
So when you enter something, you don't have to click an extra button to save it, it'll just automatically save it. So like she was saying, you go in and out of something, you enter it, and then you log off and you leave, it's automatically saved.
That's correct, and I'm going to show you just to make everybody feel comfortable. I clicked on the enter reporting data. I'm going in through the reporting period. You're going to see down here all of this list of performance data that before we showed that there were 10 of them, and you can see that there's a couple that are completed and some that are in progress. The one we did was number of activities held. So I'm going to go in there by clicking the blue link, and you'll see I put in the number 5. There it is. So that's all I had to do. If I go in, I can still go in and use the edit button now, and someone told me, oh hey, there were 2 more people. So I'm going to put in 7 and save it. So you do have to hit that save right there. When I put in the number, there was a save button. You do have to hit that save, but now I can leave the system. It'll sit there until I finish all of the other performance measures, and I'm going to use the reporting period to go back. I'm being repetitive because I think it's hard when you're learning and you're seeing someone do it. It's easier when you're actually doing it. So we understand we may get some phone calls. We're ready for that. So hit the reporting period link. You'll go back. You'll see all of these performance data, and you can see it still looks the same. So even though I changed it to 7 from 5. And the only time it'll lock me out from editing those is when I hit the submit reporting data button, which I'm not doing right now because if I do, then June will not be able to show you her part. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Are grant awards currently loaded on here? Because I tried to log into the site and it said it's under construction.
Our grant. Okay, so the question that was asked was our grant awards on the site, and all 2018-19 awards, contract awards, should be on our HIGH5 site. So what we're going to do is follow up, make sure that you are at the live production site, because all of our awards are in, so we're going to provide some support around that. Hopefully we can touch base before you leave, because all of our awards are in and ready for reporting. So we'll follow up and just make sure we've got giving you the proper URL.
Everybody's action item from today is to make sure that they know how to log into the system and that they can see the award that they're going to be doing reporting on in July. Or if you are not the designated person, that someone at your agency can see their award. That's for everybody on the phone as well. We have another question.
One last quick question. You guys alluding to a help desk or number, is that the number?
It is. You'll see there's a help desk number at the bottom of almost every page. You can kind of see it here. It's there's a link and a phone number. We also have a new link, and both the old link and the new link will take you to the same place.
And as Karen said, it's at the bottom of every page in the system. Is also under reference guides that we make sure you can get to us.
And your main contact here at First 5, your program officer, should be able to help you with some of these questions. If not, they can connect you with us, and I brought my card if you want to just have a direct line. Okay, I'm going to turn it, unless there's more questions, I'm going to turn it over to June, who's going to walk you through submitting invoices and expenses. The other way around, actually. But.
Yeah. We're going to put our expenses in, and then we're going to send an invoice. That's the order of what we're going to do to round out the award reporting, end of year award reporting. So just a quick summary before I jump into that. Karen and John both have introduced what our new feature that we're offering. It's a difference from ECC Online going to HIGH5, and that is our charts and reports. That will be, we think, we're just getting started, so there's not a lot of data in there, but over time, I think it's going to be a lot useful to you. We're going to be able to do a lot more as far as giving you reports and charts. Karen took the time this afternoon to introduce you to the community, or what we're calling our external view for end-of-year awards reporting, and reviewed entering performance data, performance measure data, what you've done through that reporting period in the RBA plan, and she also talked about report narrative. From there, I am going to take you to creating an expense report. So this is one of the probably one of the most important places for our partners and for us as well, so that you can share with us your expenses so we can get reimbursement to you. We have taken the time, I just clicked on create an expense report. I have come into the expense report here. It tells me for what reporting period, and it's given me some summary information in this breadcrumb area, just emphasizing these are the breadcrumbs which allow you to navigate back to the reporting period or back to the award itself. And it's telling you I'm working with a budget of about $30,000, and I have yet to put in expenses yet. We've got instructions here on entering the expenses, saving my report, and submitting my report. Again, where we can, we are trying to help you get as familiar with the system as you can by giving you instructions, and hopefully they're clear. I'm going to look at my expense report here and understand that I've got some teachers here with salaries, and I've got some expenses to share with regard to the teachers, 2 teachers. I can enter data by just clicking into the expense area here. Here's my budget, $15,000 for teacher 1, $10,000 for teacher 2. I can just double click in the field and put in my expense. I can put in $7,000, and then I'm going to hit the enter key and save it. I also can just click once on the pencil. For my second teacher, again, I'm going to put in $7,000 and press the enter key. Do not put in commas. Salesforce does not like commas, so if you're even putting in $10,000 or $15,000, just write the number out. You don't have to put decimal places in unless you have, change. You can just put the 7,000. Decimal points are not needed. If it's 7,050 cents, you're going to put the .50, the 0.50. But don't put any commas because it doesn't like that. You can see that the expense automatically totals for us, and it allows us to have a balance, a remaining balance. So I've got my budget, and this is the budget that you've worked with your program officer or your program manager and agreed upon. It's sitting there. It wants your expenses for this current reporting period. You'll get your total expenses, and then you'll have the remaining balance left. Once you have completed all of your data entry around your expenses, It's just a matter of clicking on the Save button. So I'm going to go back to the question that was asked earlier. Once I put my information in, do I just leave? Is it automatically saved? Wherever you are presented with a Save button, use that Save button. Do not navigate back, using the arrow, the back arrow here on the browser. We want you to stay with the flow of the application. So whenever you're seeing a button that says Edit or Save or Enter, please use the buttons for the action. So now that I have created my expenses, I'm only reporting $14,000 of expenses in this reporting period. I am ready to submit for approval. I want to take a moment to talk about cancel expense report. If you have started an expense report and you want to start over again from scratch, you can use this cancel button, cancel expense report, and it'll allow you to create a new one from scratch. We're going to keep the one that we have, and until I submit it for approval, I can constantly go back in here and add or change my numbers. I may have made a mistake. So I'm just going to go from 7,000 to 5,000 for my second teacher. So again, until I hit this, I'm going to hit the Save button because I made a change. I'm going to press the Save button. It's saved, and now I'm done. I'm happy with my numbers. The system is refreshing. And now I'm ready to submit for approval. So I'm going to click the Submit for Approval. I can add a comment. And then I'm going to press the Submit button. It's up to you whether you want to put a comment in there, or if you have a note or something that you want to share with your program officer, you can put it there as it relates to your expense report or any your reporting experience. So I have submitted my expense report. And you'll notice once I've hit the Submit, the button's gone. And this is where Karen is suggesting that if that has happened and it was not intentional, you can just give the help desk a call and we can get that back for you so that you can update, change any of your information that you've submitted. Okay. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to go back out to my reporting period. And it's moving out. All of a sudden it slowed down a little bit. Apologize for that. Okay, so now it refreshed, took a little while to refresh. Apologize for that. But we're going to move on to creating the invoice. You cannot, HIGH5 will not allow you to create an invoice until you have submitted your expense report. So,
Scroll down and show them that it shows the expense report too.
sure. Okay, at the bottom here, you're going to see that there is an expense report. Let me go a little further. There is my expense report, and it has a status of submitted because I just did that. So again, it becomes part of the award, and you see it in sections underneath the reporting period page. Okay? So now I'm going to hit the Create Invoice.
Jen, I think there was one more question about that.
Oh, I'm sorry, was there?
I'll do that. You take it. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to create an invoice. In the past, this has been a manual process, right? You guys have had to, oh, one more thing, and I'll go back and show you. I meant to share how you can print your expense report, because there's a PDF that I'll do that right now. Once you create your expense report, we can always look at it. even though it says submitted, you always look at it by clicking on the link. There is a PDF here. Download PDF right here. Clicking on that generates a PDF that you can send to the printer in case you need to, distribute it at a meeting or talk about it or talk to it to someone and you want a hard copy. Clicking that download PDF will give you the expense report that you just generated. So I'm sorry, I meant to share that. Okay, going back now to create an invoice. Another enhancement that we have done in HIGH5 that we didn't have in ECC Online was to be able to create an invoice based on that expense report that you just made. So it says an expense report is due. You can use us to you can use HIGH5 to make it happen. Just click on the next button. We're going to create an expense report for $12,000, and that sounds right because remember, I entered teacher 1. Her expenses for the reporting period were 7, and I updated teacher 2's expenses for the period to be 5. So we got a $12,000 invoice that we need to generate. So it's correct. I'm going to move on to the next button, and here is where it's going to say, hey, make sure this information is accurate because we're going to generate an invoice based on who's logged in, what their title might be, where you're located. So you see you've got some mandatory fields because they've got the red asterisks by them. It just wants to confirm this is what's going to be part of the invoice. We need a phone number, a description of the services. Should be always on every invoice, right? Every accountant wants to see that. So I'm going to put end of year, hand slip. I'm going to put end of year reporting. If you have a tax ID or something you want to add that, you can put that in there as well. So it's collected all identifying information needed for an invoice or one that's good for us, that we love to have all that information on. Press the next button, and now it's going to give me an idea of what's going to happen. Hey, keep moving forward. You're going to get a PDF that's generated. You're going to find it at the bottom of your screen like you do in other experiences when you're downloading a file or something, and it's like then you're going to print it, you're going to put it on your letterhead, and then you're going to load it back up into HIGH5. You don't have to mail it, you don't have to fax it, you just put it back into HIGH5 and a message comes to your program officer or your program manager that it's there. They will go get it from there. Okay, so that's just what this whole messaging here is telling you. This is what's going to happen to get your invoice properly to begin being processed within First 5 Alameda County. So I hit the button and my invoice is going to be printed. It's sitting right here for me, right? So I can pull that down. I am going to put it on my letterhead, and once I've done that, then I can click File Attachments, and I can assign, and I can put it back up. And you're going to go through the process of uploading, going to your hard drive somewhere on your C drive to upload that file. Once you've done that, you're going to click the Submit Signed Invoice. See, this is where you're going to get the upload files. You can go out here, you're going to select a file. We can go out to my hard drive. We can select a file. I'm going to go into Documents. Upload it. And maybe that wasn't the best file to pick, but we're just gonna move on. It says got it, and move on to the next option. And once you've done that, once you've uploaded the file, it'll be there, and then a message will go to the program manager so that they'll know that your invoice is all ready, and they just start a voucher payment internal. So that's one of the automated processes that you don't have to do manually. You can use HIGH5 to do that. And this is acceptable from our contracts. If you're thinking, well, do I have to send a wet signature or what have you, this is acceptable. Okay. Alrighty. So once you've done that, you can move back out. You've submitted your signed invoice. You can move back out to your reporting period. And you're ready now to tell HIGH5, I've done everything. I've done my RBA. If I had report narrative questions, I've taken care of them. If I've had, your budget, you've already taken care of that. You've submitted your expense, you've submitted your invoice. So now you're ready to tell the system, I'm done with this end of year 2018-2019 end of year reporting of my data, and I'm going to click the submit reporting data button. In doing so, it's going to do a check, and it's like, hey June, you haven't finished all your performance measure data. As you know, Karen showed you we had 10 of them. We maybe addressed 4. The 2 are, well, if you had 10, we addressed 2. So they're letting you know it's still in progress, but you can finish, and we're just going through the finish piece so that you know that you can do that, but there are some warnings built in. Okay? So once you've hit the submit reporting data, you'll notice that you're done. You've got submitted, completed, and you're done. We want to take a moment and talk about attaching files. A lot of times as you are reporting and you're doing the RBA, you're doing the expenses, you still might have some other documentation that you've been asked for. Maybe if you said, I did so many trainings or I had 8 kids play in the mud, you might want to talk about or share a flyer or experiences, survey results, or something that are relevant to how successful your event was. You can attach files here as opposed to putting them in the mail or submitting them in a separate email. Throughout the reporting module, there are various places where you can attach files. So you can use this feature here at the reporting period, attach whatever it is that you want to share in addition to the reporting in the system. So we put that there for your convenience as well. Any questions?
I guess to clarify, can those be pictures, files?
Yes, they can be pictures. And then if you were talking about that in the RBA under that performance data, Karen indicated that sometimes there's a turn to curve or tell the story. You might want to say, you might have told the story, and you might want to say pictures will be attached, and that's where you put them. So you don't have to worry about sending them in a separate email that might not get connected with your reporting data. And again, once you've pressed, just like the expense report, once you've submitted or said submit my reporting data, your program manager gets notification that, hey, you're done.
I think we have a question from the phone. Is that right? Did someone have a question?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My question, the generation of the invoice, that's optional. It's not required, is that correct?
You need to use the system to create the invoice?
Yes.
Yeah, you can still send us an original hard copy by mail. We would probably, your program officer will probably get into the habit of scanning that and attaching it to your award, because we are trying to get all documents to live in one place. But if for some reason your agency needs to do hard copies, we will still accept them.
But typically what happens is we already have an invoice, so we have all the information and then we input it into the system. So we could upload that document.
Yep.
Yes, you wouldn't need to go to the create invoice functionality, you would just be able to upload it like any other file.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Uh,
Next question?
Yeah, to piggyback on that, what if there is no payment due for this period? Do you want a $0 invoice or not necessarily?
If it's not, it wouldn't be one of your reporting requirements, right? Because if it's agreed upon, it's known, right, that you have certain, within certain periods, you're going to submit an invoice. If this one is not that period, it wouldn't be one of your reporting requirements. So there's no need to submit a blank one.
And again, I would just recommend to everyone as we're starting this new system, this new relationship with the system, just be in contact with your point person, let them know if you're like Anna and you're not going to submit the invoice through the system. Let them know, hey, I've uploaded it, I've attached it to the file. They'll see it, but just, you know, good communication helps, it helps everything. So just make sure you're talking with your program manager about what you're doing, how you're using the system.
Alrighty. So that's it in the sense of how do I submit my end of year reporting for first 5 Alameda County awards. We've gone through this afternoon how to get into our new system. We talked about the charts and reports section. We've looked at the award components, the reporting components of RBA, report narrative, and expenses. And we just, want you guys to understand our next steps will be, we will be sending a survey to you all just to understand your experiences so far with our training and how we've communicated with you around the new system. We want to know how we can do the training better in sharing the development of this system. As you're using the system, we're asking you to keep in mind, this is like the first unveiling of the system. And as you all use it and work with us and give us feedback, we'll know where to go as far as improvements and what more we can do to make your experience working with First 5 and using our technology, make it better. And then lastly, we will definitely give a blast out around when the official reporting period, begins and ends, so that you'll know when to get into the system. As Karen mentioned, we have a help desk which is staffed by myself, Karen, well, not Karen, but myself and John, and another individual, Thomas, who you haven't met. And we are here from 8 to 5, so we'll be picking up the phone line, we'll answer emails, and we definitely want you all, don't hesitate to call and ask us any question, big or small. It's important that you don't feel that you can't call. Nothing is too big, nothing's too small for us to tackle and help you guys work through. So what's really important before you leave here is, if you have the time, we kind of built in some extra time for the training because it's till 4, is because we would love to help you make sure you're able to get into the system now. Like, check to make sure we have given you the right URLs and everything, and that you have access to the system. Because some of you might be eager beavers and want to get in and start your reporting and get it done already before the end of the year, because you got your data, you're all ready. But we do want to make sure that at the end of June, when you're going to get started, you're all set to go. Lastly, I'm sorry.
I just want to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as an ex-program officer, and because it's a new system, don't wait till the last minute. This is new. You're going to take some time. Start gathering the information you need as soon as you can to work with it, so that you have access to us, and it's not 4:45 and we've written all the same phone calls with it.
Right. And most importantly, as you are thinking and here representing your agency, and you're saying, well, I'm here at the table and I'm going to make sure that I'm logged in and can get access to the award, be thinking about who else within your agency might need access, so that we can get them all connected as well. Yeah. And I think that is it, unless there are any more questions, or if you have questions or something for us, we are happy to take them. Good? Okay, thank you guys, and there's 6 laptops back there. For those who are on the webinar, thank you so much for joining, and we've learned that sound is a concern, and we're going to do better with that. We'll improve that. We also encourage you to send us an email or call us tomorrow, because we're not, at our desk to get you connected. But send us an email to reach out to you after the training. We're going to be in here with staff and our partners who are here in the conference center, making sure that people get connected. We'll be able to definitely tune in our attention to you all first thing in the morning. So thank everyone. Have a great afternoon. Okay? Thanks for coming. Thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. Hi, how are you?
So I'm new. I'm working with Roots Community
Well,
Health
June
Center.
Allen, nice to meet
Andrea
you.
Bettis.
And I'm gonna shut this down.
Okay, because I just had a question. Well, I have so many questions.
No, is that good or bad?
No, it's good because I'm new and I want to learn.
Excellent.
Yeah. But my log